Hi, welcome to Module 2 for ME BIOM 531 Materials Engineering class. In this module, we'll be talking about metals and alloys. This module is for 3 weeks and there are 3 sub-modules for this Module 2. Module 2.1, 2.2 and 2.3. Each of these modules, they have their own activities and different homeworks. I'll talk about that in a minute. Module 2.1, you'll be learning a lot about crystal structure and deformation of metals. You'll also be learning a lot about dislocations, strengthening of metals and alloys. The key concepts of this module is to basically understand how these materials are able to perform mechanically when they're exposed to different conditions. Why do alloys have better strength than metals, and why do we use alloys for certain applications and we do not use metals for those applications? So basically trying to understand the fundamentals of what actually makes these metals and alloys and how we can make them better by making alloys and things like that. There's one homework for this module, homework 2.1. It is going to be due 1 week after it's available on RAMCT. There's no research article to review for this sub-module. Module 2.2 actually is going to deal with thermal processing of metals. We'll also be learning a lot about phase diagrams. I'm sure you all remember phase diagrams, and I'm sure you all hated phase diagrams when you did your undergraduate class. We'll go over that again in very brief, but they're very important, as you all know, that phase diagrams are going to tell you what temperature you should mix two different metals and make alloys and things like that. So the goal of that module is to sort of understand how we can thermally process metals and how we can make alloys. And we'll also be talking a lot about how these alloys are going to be used, what are different applications of these alloys. For this module, you're going to have a homework, which will be due 1 week from the day it's available on RAMCT. Please make sure you look at all the deadlines. They are written on the RAMCT with the dates when you need to submit this homework. There's also going to be a journal article. You are required to read that, and you are required to write 1-page critique on that article. I'm basically looking for what you thought about the research, what you think where the limitations of that, if there are any. And for each and every of these research articles, there are certain prompt questions which are also posted on RAMCT. So make sure you answer these questions when you're actually reading this research article, and that should be included in the critique that you submit to me. Module 2.3 is actually going to be dealing with processing of metals and alloys. How do we make different shapes of metals? How do we make different parts for cars or different parts for airplanes and things like that? What different techniques are used? And the goal is to understand how we can process these metals on alloys so that we can make them more usable for different applications. You'll also be learning a lot about characterization techniques. You make an alloy, how do you know what's the percentage of metal A and metal B in that alloy? At the same time, how do you know what the crystal structure is? So we'll be looking into a lot of different types of microscopy techniques to look at crystal structures and grain boundaries and things like that. You'll also be learning a lot about different techniques for mechanical characterization. If you want to know what the hardness of that metal or alloy is, if you want to know what the wear properties are. So the goal is to understand how all these techniques can be used to get useful information so that we can make a better judgment of what material or what metal or alloy has to be used for a certain application. You do not have homework for module 2.3, but you do have a journal article, which again you are required to write a 1-page critique and submit within 1 week. Thank you.